We're live.
Well, that was a good warm up, though, wasn't it? I'm still not going to go through the comments because there's nobody in there, so no one will say this.
You've got two people there. There's people there.
Is the people there? Comment
so
I can put you up there. Right, yeah. So welcome back to that comic book review club. We had a false start. My fault.
We've been talking for 10 minutes and you hadn't hit go live.
I know.
We've reviewed the bloody book already.
Oh, well, there you go. We've got someone in. Sips in the chat. How you doing, mate? Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, so we're reviewing Nocterra Volume 1. Written by Scott Snyder, art by Tony S. Daniel. This was first published 2021 and it's still ongoing. It's only up to issue 14. So it's been a long time. I don't know why it's taken so long to knock these books out. Anyway, quick synopsis is the story revolves around Val Riggs and her brother M. It's been 10 years since the sun disappeared and darkness has took over, turning things very monstrous. So, yeah, that's that. We are reviewing Volume 1, which collects Nocterra 1 to 6. First time I read this, I'm going to be honest, I didn't enjoy it.
JP.
I know. I didn't. Oh, hey, James. How you doing, mate?
Hey, sorry, I'm late. I was a rush just to get the kids to bed. But yeah, hi. And look, I brought my Nocterra.
Very nice.
Yeah,
I'm just saying I didn't enjoy this the first time I read it.
I've got a story about my Nocterra later on, JP. Since James has shown his.
It is. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it did give us nightmares, to be honest. If
give you nightmares?
No, it didn't. Wasn't enough Ginger Kong in it. Yeah. So I think it was it's over narrated. I thought the first time I read it, too much backstory in it. I thought it took away from the book. You're looking confused, Pete.
Too much backstory in narration.
Too much.
It's a comic.
Yeah.
It's got to explain something.
Yeah, you can explain it, but not in every issue. But anyway, second time read, I enjoyed it a bit more because I skipped the bits of the backstory.
So you didn't actually read it. You looked at the pretty pictures.
I've read it.
Yeah.
No, we're doing a Ginger Kong.
You basically skipped the first 2 pages of every issue then.
You looked at the pretty pictures. Let's be honest.
I know, but once you know the backstory, you don't need to go back and read it because it's self-explanatory. Pete, what about you? Because this is your first time reading this.
Yeah, so this is my first time reading this book. I'd heard about it. Everybody was talking about it. The Killer Comic Show were talking about it a lot. As you would expect with me, I've got multiple copies of the first issue, which I've had signed and things at Thought Bubble. I couldn't put this down. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I was engrossed in the world. I loved the concept of the book. I thought the concept was really cool because when I'd seen the covers and things on Killer Comic Show, I'd assumed this was set on an alien planet. I hadn't appreciated it was all Earth.
Right.
So yeah, right. I just kept reading it. I thought the artwork was really, really cool. I enjoyed the characters. I liked the monsters, and it had some quite good twists in it, I think. And the villain really, really kind of got us intrigued. So yeah, I enjoyed the story. I thought it was good, a good read.
Yeah, just a quick hello to Phil's Treehouse and Tats Comics. Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, absolutely. When you look at the covers in that, Efren, you arrived. You made it.
Better late than never.
I'm just saying I didn't like this book, Efren.
What?
What? First time I read it.
Apparently, it had too many words, Efren. Too many. You didn't like the fact that it had a story, you know?
Oh, that's what I liked about
it. James, you were an old reader of Nocterra. What was your thoughts first time you read it?
Yeah, so this is new reading it. Like I said, I've had that first issue, but I've never actually read it. So I read it for the purpose of this. And you know what? GP, I think I agree with you. I don't think I enjoyed it. I think by the time I was getting through that trade, by the time I was hitting the 6th issue, I was just like, I don't want to. I just, it was like a slog to read. Especially that 6th issue was very, very heavy on sort of exposition and stuff, and
yeah,
there was thought bubbles and thinking bubbles and all those bubbles everywhere on the page. I'm like, oh, it's too many. I don't know, maybe I was just trying to read it too fast for the purpose of this show, but
possibly,
yeah. But I don't know. I just didn't enjoy it. I didn't enjoy the story. I thought the premise was good. I thought it was very well set up, and maybe they'll touch more on, obviously, the girl being mostly blind, now living in a world where darkness is essentially a curse. Thinking it's a good premise, but they don't really touch on that very much during that first arc. And,
I thought that was
they
weird
should have played into it more. But maybe that comes later. I don't know. But I don't know. I thought there was a lot more they could have done with it, and it just tended up being a very short cat and mouse story by the book. I didn't really think there was much different about it.
Yeah. Simon, how about yourself? Because you've been reading it.
So I picked this up when we were going to Thought Bubble last year to see Scott Snyder. So I wanted a book signed for Scott Snyder, and I wanted something different, like an indie book. And so I picked this up and read it and got it signed by Scott. So I enjoyed it. I like the concept. You've got to explain the concept of the story. So the start for me was really good. I guess where there is elements where you can it goes off track and you can lose bits, but the start, I love that everything's gone dark and they only rely on lights to see. The only thing that wasn't explained to me is the process of, if you're in the dark too long, how long you have to be in that dark to turn into a creature. Do you know what I mean? So that process didn't make any sense, because it was like, the dark's happened and people are mutated. We don't know why they've mutated. We don't know how and anything. And maybe that's to come in like the next latest issues and volumes. But some incline of like, I like to know, okay, this event's happened. Okay, that's nice. Here's an introduction to characters. But, these creatures, why are they sort of an element of surprise? Like to know, like, why they would be turning in the dark.
Yeah, I get what you mean. Efren, is this the first time you read this one?
No, I read it when it first came out. And the second time I read it, I really enjoyed this storyline. I thought it was way better than Thanos Wins. Big into it, Dan. I didn't like that book. I just really like the characters. I like how they got into each person's life. Especially the two main characters. How their bond started. I think good writing, good artwork, and good writing has to go along. If you pick the right artist, I think it adds a lot to the storyline. And I really like the artwork for this 6th series, and I really enjoyed it. Basically, what Simon said, I just want to know what they keep on saying when the PM happened. I was trying to Google what PM meant. Do you know what that means? No, I couldn't figure it out what PM exactly meant.
I just assumed it meant, like, obviously PM's the afternoon, so in the evenings I was like, it's dark, right? So that's what people.
Yeah.
So
maybe okay. Maybe I was thinking too much into it.
I would say
this
would have helped if I give everybody the synopsis at the beginning of the show, which I didn't do. Yeah. So anyway, the story does evolve around Val Riggs and her little brother M. And it's been 10 years since the sun basically got blotted out by the darkness. They do mention in the book that the sun's still there. It's just not getting through. And she's a truck driver, so she's transporting people down these dark roads from place to place to like well-lit places, so they don't turn into these monstrous beings called shades. And that's basically where we start issue 1, where she's actually transporting some people. And she's got a couple on there, old man and his granddaughter. and she's getting into this town. I forget what the town's called now. But they get attacked, and she basically kicks a bit of ass and gets there safely. And then they ask her to take them someplace else. The old man shows her the sunburn on his arm. And she says, "Oh, I've seen like fake sunburns before. You're full of shit," basically. He says, "No, get us there. You'll get paid, whatever." And so she agrees, and that's where the story goes. At the end, we are introduced to a character called Blacktop Bill, which we're going to talk a little bit about later on. But issue 1, Simon, what was your thoughts on issue 1? Did it hook you straight in?
Yeah, it definitely, yeah. So introduction to this gentleman with young lass, and then her brothers with her as well. I never understood why she really took her brother along. So on this sort of thing, but yeah, I mean, what's interesting is I like the aspect of the truck driver in the light to transport people, because that's what she was doing at the start. She was transporting to the city, so to get places that they go by transport, and being attacked by these creatures. I just watched this Korean program that could have been sort of inspired from this, because they do the same sort of thing where air, it's all desert and no one has enough air, so they've got machines where they can produce air cartridges, and there's these truck drivers that transport it from one place to another, and they're being attacked for that. So it's got a lot of it could have been inspired from that. That's fairly new on Netflix, so I'd like to see this as a Netflix show. Possibly this would be good.
I do believe it's in development.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Awesome.
That's why I was thinking it's a bit weird that they've only got 14 issues out at the minute. It's, being developed for TV. How about you, James? Since it's your first time reading this one.
Yeah, I did enjoy issue 1. I thought it was a good setup to the story. Like I said, the overall premise I think is very interesting. I think as it goes on and later in the issues, they probably overcomplicated it. Because obviously, like I said, the idea of the darkness, and then obviously our main character is a girl who's essentially lived in the dark, not to quote Bane, but lived in the darkness. But yeah, you know what I mean. So she, and I think again that was an interesting premise from issue 1. That sort of kept me saying, "Oh, I want to read more, see what's happening," and hopefully play on that. And yeah, it was a decent story. We touched on a couple of weeks ago, I like trucks, so it's good to see some trucks going on. There's no Meatloaf driving them, but they're still trucks, so that's good.
Still trucks.
And yeah, and I think the issue 1 definitely set up the story very well. I think it was done very well, and I think the art is fantastic in it. It's very sort of 90s image art, which I think we all sort of were into at the time. It's very like Darkness and Witchblade-esque kind of art. So but no, I think that as a setup to the story, issue 1 was good. I guess just after that I felt it starts losing its way. But yeah, no, definitely issue 1 was a good read, and it had me hooked.
Yeah. How about you, Pete?
So I thought issue 1 was really interesting. I liked the introduction to the kind of the world. I like the world building. I didn't think our brother was in with her in the van. I thought he was like the man on the radio. I hadn't.
Yeah, he was on comms. Yeah, at the beginning of the book.
And I liked the introduction of of the kind of the mythology about the beasts, I guess, in terms of the gums turning black and stuff like that. In terms of a first issue, it did its job for me. It got us interested enough to read on, and particularly when we got the kind of the big bad at the end of issue 1, I think. I immediately was interested in, because I thought he sounded very cool. So yeah, I thought it was a solid first issue with good art.
Yeah, I must admit, Tony S. Daniel hit it out the park with the artwork. Something I really did enjoy on my first read through. How about yourself, Efren?
I think what Peter just talked about, the artwork. When I first looked at this in advanced orders, the covers is what got me first, and then I started reading the synopsis of it. And I really enjoyed the first issue. I like Val. Basically, she couldn't see at the beginning, but she was blind, and I like the
she was
correlation of
clinically
that.
blind.
And everything turns into darkness basically after that. So I just like the interaction between her and her brother, and even her parents. What little they had in it. And how everybody instantly, like within a day, I think they said started turning. And I still don't quite understand why some people turn and why others didn't, because they had more light on them, or is that right?
Possibly.
Wasn't really explained, Efren. I think Simon's right before. I don't think it really fleshed out the kind of the mechanism for people turning.
Yeah.
I just assumed it was like most diseases. Some people were quicker than others. I kind of thinking those that were indoors maybe didn't get exposed as much.
Yeah. Because I think in some of the flashbacks, Val and Em, they were like mainly kept indoors, and they were watching the parents out the window in this big church group thing.
Yeah.
And that's when the parents start to turn.
Yeah.
But we also find out in issue 1 that Em's starting to turn. Val's little brother Emery, he's starting to turn. His gums starting to go black. But introduce the Blacktop Bill at the end. Goes to this lady called Bellwether, and she runs the trucks basically. And Blacktop Bill's there looking for this old man and his granddaughter. Then issue 2, you get a bit more backstory, which I couldn't be bothered to write anything down for. But Augustus, who the old man is, starts to explain about the machine and how it was his fault the son disappeared. Then you get a bit more Blacktop Bill chasing people down. I've lost my notes now.
No, that's it. That's essentially it.
It is actually, because it cuts off then. I've just got issue 3 written down here now. So that was basically issue 2.
No, that's it. That's it.
Flew over. So I think it was issue 2 where Blacktop Bill started chasing them.
Yeah, so end of issue 1, Blacktop Bill is kind of having his altercation, isn't he, with the all the rest of it. And then in the second issue, I think that's when he starts chasing, and that's when you start getting some of the kind of the is issue 2 where the I only read it today, I can't remember. Is it issue 2 where they pull over and they've got kind of like the truck stop kind of thing with all the different batteries and lights and things like that?
I think it is, yeah. It's or is it the Cave of Hands? With all the all the hands.
So issue 3 is where they go to the stop with all the lights.
Right.
So that's after she agrees. So issue 2 is basically she agrees to take Bailey and her granddad to wherever it is they're going, the sanctuary thing.
Yeah, I'm just flicking through.
I really like this villain. I mean, he's just all in black, but just the grin on his face, on his teeth. Basically, that's all they show is his teeth. But that to me, I was like, wow, this is a really cool villain. I go, how did he get his powers? They explain it later on. He wanted to be like this. His world. He was waiting for this.
Yeah, because I think it's issue 2 where they start mentioning that there was this legend called Blacktop Bill. Before the world went dark, and how he was a serial killer. And I'm assuming it's the same person. Not read past issue 6. I'm assuming.
I mean, if I could give a different viewpoint, I think it's just lazy character design. It's like, a big black dude with a grin. It's like,
could be asked to draw a face.
It's like, I can't think of anything new. We've already got the monsters. It's just like a big shadow.
There's something like Negan-esque about Blacktop Bill.
Yeah.
So we'll just jump straight into issue 3. We learn more about the shades, how they mingle with each other. So, like, different animals reproduce and different shades are born. The flowers get turned into shades. Then Val's mum and dad change in this flashback for this issue. And then you get pretty much the biggest bit of the car chasing in the volume between Blacktop Bill and Val, where he's using the harpoons.
Yeah.
And Augustus tries to save him by sacrificing himself, and he gets a harpoon ram
Yeah,
straight through.
true.
And then,
Yeah.
then you get a bit more of M turning a bit more into a shade at the end of it. And
Yeah.
that's pretty much the cliffhanger of issue 3. At this point in the book, did you think M was going to go full shade? Anybody?
I don't know. I kind of, because of the way these stories normally play out, I kind of thought at some point he'll be saved. But it was looking touch and go at some points. I thought the truck scene was really cool. I enjoyed the harpoon.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed didn't they drop some little spikes and things, and then some like exploding cans
That's right,
and all
yeah.
that kind of
Yeah.
jazz. I don't think it's this issue, but the bit where the old guy, you see him strapped to the top of the car.
Yes.
I really like that. I thought that was very cool.
Yeah.
I'm interested in just as you're talking, Pete, looking at the different covers here. They give very little away, don't they? I mean, there's note in those covers to say what happens in the comics, and I think that's why I'm struggling to remember what happens in each issue. Do you know what I mean? All the covers are pretty nondescript, I guess.
But the good covers.
Oh, the good covers, yeah. They just don't
Yeah.
tell you anything about what's happening in the issue, I don't think.
Just a quick hello to Bleecker Street Comics and Dave Clexier. Yeah, thanks for stopping by. Much appreciated. But yeah, that was basically issue 3. Going to issue 4. So Augustus is dead by all accounts until we see him strapped to the roof of the car. Then the place is called Tipton.
Right.
Where that's not the sanctuary. The sanctuary is a different place, but they're trying to
Yeah, Tipton was like
go on
another
about a place called Tipton.
It was like another
it's
place
another
that
town,
was survived for a while. Yeah.
Yeah. They still don't really see the human shades, but they are mentioned again in this issue, and how they're the only ones that can talk to each other, which comes back to it in issue 6, I think. And then you meet Tiberius, who's Gus's twin, when they get to the sanctuary.
Yeah.
And that's issue 4. They seem to fly through the issues. It's like nothing really seems to grab your attention much.
Do you know, for Val, when she wears that helmet, does that protect her from turning? So I think I read somewhere in the book that it has some kind of light or something. It protects her, doesn't it?
Yeah, I must have skipped over that one.
Yeah, I don't know if they mentioned it specifically, but you see, it's even in the first issue of the people in the back of the truck. You know, some of them were wearing helmets, and you know, there's lots of different space helmets and stuff walking around the town as well. Like, you know, is there a reason for helmets? I don't know. Maybe helmets is just cool at that stage. You know, everyone wants a helmet.
Cool helmet, because she's got like this ring of light on it as well.
I want to say, is that not what it's more? Because a lot of them, like James says, are wearing kind of like Christmas tree lights stitched in the jumpers and things. I just assumed it was a helmet to emit light.
The girl on the cover's got like those little LED things. So I think having light near you helps.
Yeah,
you not turn quick or turn at all or anything. It
or keep the creatures away from you.
Yeah, that too. So.
So did anything grab you in this issue?
They say in this series too that the sun is still out there, but it's just being
yes, that's right. Yeah,
right. So yeah.
So I think in this issue, wasn't it, where the Blacktop Bill was then talking to somebody? I think it's when they had Augustus strapped to the top. So you see there was there's a third party involved here who's obviously hired Blacktop Bill. And they're making it sort of pretty obvious that you know it's obviously going to be something to do with the story, so they're definitely setting that up. So that was it. That was interesting to see. Obviously, you know, are we going to learn more about it? And obviously, we do as we go on. But that was sort of I like that. But no, I just think the whole thing is too long. I think what they've encountered in these like sort of 6 issues, it could have been done in 3. Probably.
In 3 issues, I would say, because I seem to be like going through the issues, trying to get the bit of Blacktop Bill, because I found him the most interesting.
He's interesting.
Yeah.
Now, do you guys think it would have been a better series if it had more action scenes and less dialogue?
Definitely.
Yeah.
I like the explanation for certain things, so I just think I like the truck scenes going from one bit to another with the car chase, and that I do like that one. I think a few more monster scenes would have been good. Yeah, I don't know. You could have more action scenes, but then it's figuring out what's going on. You need some explainers in it. So
Yeah.
I don't think
Well,
it
he said-
even got that text heavy until that last issue, which I found the hardest to read. Although it still had some good action in there too. But I think I think it's I think just every issue seems to start with a flashback, and that's what I'm least interested in. I want to sort of keep on this story, where they're on the road.
That is very true. It is very flashback heavy. It felt to me like I was reading Lost. Do you remember the TV show?
Yeah.
It was like every episode you had to have your flashback that somehow tied at or hinted at the story that was happening at that point in time,
Yeah, say Luke would have loved this. Yes, so they get the sanctuary. We find out in issue 5. And the cure M by putting him in this cradle above this big light. And the sanctuary is just basically just one of the most well-lit spaces. It's got like sort of sunlight in it. You see some human shades and they're like caged, and they do look pretty menacing. What have I got here? And then you find out. Sorry, Pete.
I was just going to. I'm interested in what James thinks of the shades because, Blacktop Bill. I think you're right. He's a pretty basic design. I thought the shades were pretty basic. They were out of all of the creatures we've seen, they were probably the most nondescript, kind of just a chunky looking black creature.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and we didn't see them very much, so it's hard to see what happened. There was one scene I think where you see like one was stretching out, and you can see it did have like a head.
Yeah.
Whereas the other ones just looked like those what are those guys in the Lord of the Rings? The cloaked fellas. They were just whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
and that's what I looked like.
The creature ones looked a lot better than the human shades. Yeah, definitely. So.
Yeah.
But I don't think we've seen them obviously in full whack yet. So I think when we do, they might be more interesting. But no, I didn't think it was that bad of a character. Sort of for a sort of harrowing human-esque monster that again there wasn't much to it, but it looked all right.
Only humans can turn into shades, right?
No, everything.
No, animals.
Oh, animals,
plants.
Yeah.
So
And they
basically,
eat the animals too, don't they? They eat the animals.
See, that's something I missed when first read. Is what they've been eating if everything's turned into these monsters.
The shade.
And I think it's Bailey's looking at some fish in a fish tank that's turned like into shades, and she says, "Oh, like this sort of shade fish better than that one." So they've been eating stuff that they turn into. Basically,
animals.
Yeah, weird. See, I thought that was very strange.
Yeah, you can't grow crops or anything.
But anyway, by the end of issue 5, we find out Tiberius is the one who employed Blacktop Bill to take out his brother. And of course, Val has all this conversation going on. Did anybody think it was Tiberius behind it all?
That caught me by surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when you first meet him, he seems like a genuinely nice person.
Yeah.
He says, "Oh, you can stay here as long as you want," and what have you. And then we find out, obviously, he's the one behind it. And that was issue 5. And then we go into issue 6 with another little flashback. And then you get a back and forth between Bill and Tiberius. Bill's wanting to get into the sanctuary to finish the job, basically. To take out Bailey, Val, and them. And Tiberius isn't having it. And the conversation between them is pretty good. Bill shows like how sadistic he can be. And he's asking it, do you want us to like do it fast or slow and this and that? And then Val obviously went to Tiberius to say, look, we were leaving anyway. But then they're going to still have Bill chasing them. What did you think about the back and forth between Tiberius and Bill? Anyone?
Yeah, it was good. It was interesting character development, I think. I thought the issue was pretty good. It was text heavy, I guess. But yeah, no, I thought it was quite well rounded. And I liked the kind of the escape and all the rest of it, and the freeing of the shades was quite interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought the dialogue was pretty good.
Did they say why he's doing this, Tiberius? Because he's got his own little world. Does he just wants to be? I don't understand why.
Yeah, it's the people he was working for who employed him and his brother.
Uh-huh.
Was it why Gus turned on them? It doesn't really explain why he turned on them.
I think wasn't it
Tiberius,
his brother was the part of the reason this has this
Yeah.
has happened? He caused
Yeah.
it with like somehow he caused this whole event happening. So they sort of getting their back like revenge for it. So
yeah. It's
So
like
that
when you
would
talk-
makes me question why then does he want to go back to that sanctuary where he knows his brother's there, who effectively he's been trying,
Yeah.
getting away from.
That's a good
Like,
point.
why bring?
I think he just got backstabbed and he just didn't know, because obviously
Yeah,
they had they created that mini sun environment to heal people. So like they've got a healing element there, but it's like, okay, so if you've got that, why are you not giving it to the rest of the world? So
Yeah. But I think it's what he says in the book about like how they want to make money out of it. It's like pharmaceutical companies
Right.
will make this drug, but they'll sell it the highest price they can. So I suppose they could do the same for these little sanctuaries in the sunlight.
I think it was that sort of started losing me. It was issue 5 and 6 when they started going into what they were building and what they were the lights making, and they've got this thing called a Lux, and then there's something on the flip side of that called Eos or something, and it's like I don't know. No, it's just again, I think the more I read, the more I read other books outside of Usagi, the stupider I feel, because these books are just going well over my head.
No, I think that's a great point, James, because there were a lot of writers, and I would put Snyder at times, as well as someone like, say, Grant Morrison, who some people absolutely love, but I just find the books hard work because I don't think I'm clever enough for them, because all of the weird fancy words and the metaphysics and all that kind of shit doesn't work for us. Do you know what I mean? And I think you're right. I think this started to get very kind of convoluted, and I was struggling to understand it myself. So in the end, I just thought, fuck it, and just went with pretty pictures. Do you know what I mean? But yeah.
Sometimes when I read books, I really have to slow down. Sometimes I read books so quick that I miss points of a certain storyline. And when this book, when I first read it, I read it so quick. The second time, because GP wanted to review it, I took my time reading this book so I can pick up on the finer points of it. But there were times when I was like, what exactly is happening here? So that is the frustrating part about reading some stories, So, but I took my time reading this story, and like I said, I enjoyed it more the second time around.
Yeah, I'll have to agree with you there. For the first time I read this, I must have missed some bits, because I remember when Bailey was saying, "Oh, I met like my Gus in the woods." And now he's his grandpa. I thought, what does he just make you in the woods, and now you have to call him grandpa or something?
Yeah.
It was just like stupid little stuff like that I missed on the first read, the full explanation. And then the second time I read it, and I took my time a bit more with it, that things started to make a bit more sense. And it was like the stuff with Bill wanted to know about the shade speech in issue 6. I completely missed that the first time, and then I got it like this time, because obviously he's quoted in some sort of like darkness.
Yeah.
Well, I like how in issue 6 how the grandfather, when he turned, he still had a little bit of humanity left in him, because he told his granddaughter to run. That last part of the last spark of humanity that he had in him, and what he did to his brother was awesome, I think.
Yeah.
I was just going to get to that,
because
I go, that's a cool scene.
Yeah, shit goes down.
Yeah.
Basically, Gus is outside and gets in and just rips his brother in half.
Yeah.
And it was a great page. I should have sent you that one, Pete, to put up.
Yeah, it's a very cool page.
It was good. But anyway, Val, Bailey, and M escape the sanctuary, but the power's dead on the truck, so they just roll it down the hill. And there's Bellwether with some other truckers, and they light them up. So
I have a scene right here.
They don't get caught.
If you want to look at that part where he kills his dad, is right. I mean, his brother is right here. Why not enlarge? Give me bigger here.
How do you do that, Pete?
I'm on it. There you go.
There we go.
I'm fucking useless. Hello.
There you go.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Yeah,
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
that's really cool, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Bill's been going on about this shade speech. It's called the hepatome, and that's what he's been wanting. And he actually gets it in the end. God knows what it is. This device he's holding, it's got the speech on it.
Yeah, I think
What's
so. I think it
gonna use it
alluded
for?
to that Tiberius was studying the speech of the human shades that he had captured, and then obviously they're alluding to Emery had also had heard, obviously, when he was sort of turning, he had visions and stuff like that. He had visions of people like light men as well. Was odd, and how that's
right.
But,
Yes,
he also had like that he could hear the speech and stuff like that, and he was understanding some of it. So I think that's going to pop. Obviously, as they're building that to play a big part of it. I assume Blacktop Bill is going to try to control the creatures using the language or something. I assume in the coming arcs, but and again, I think that was a good piece. It was well done. I think they built that up pretty well over a couple of issues as well. So I did enjoy that wee aspect of it.
Yeah, I would say after reading this the second time, it's left us intrigued enough to want to read on.
Yes.
And read more about Blacktop Bill. Just quick hello to Sensei Domino. Thanks for coming over, mate. Nice to see you. Sensei. How did you feel by the end of reading this volume? Go to Pete.
A lot better before we started this show. So I really liked it, and I came out of it thinking it was good, and it's made us want to read more. But then, as we've gone through slide by slide, I'm really struggling to remember what happened in the book, and I only read it today. So that to me, it's not. I've enjoyed it, but it's not been memorable. It's not stuck in my head for some reason. So I'm a bit surprised by that, really. I will go on and read mine. I am intrigued enough to continue reading the story, and I did enjoy it. It wasn't a masterpiece, like Thanos Wins, but it was certainly intriguing enough for us to continue reading. I'm a bit like James, but I think if the next few issues it gets more complicated and convoluted, and that's when I start to switch off. Do you know what I mean? I kind of be chilled with that. Give us monsters chasing them and stuff like that. I'm happy with that.
Yeah. Simon, you have read on, haven't you?
I have, yes, yeah. So obviously we get a sort of one shot for Blacktop Bill, which is a sort of backstory about him and how he's still very sadistic in that. So that's quite interesting. A bit more explanation as well.
Nice. Very cool.
And other things. But again, I have to say, like, going back to these first 6 issues, great concept, great characters. I don't think we had very good explainers. Or the explainers we got lost in, and that's the problem with the story. So other than that, I think it could have been a lot better in those concepts.
Yeah. So, How about yourself, James? Do you want to read on?
Not really. Not after reading the last 2 issues. Sort of just put me off a wee bit. I did enjoy the first couple of issues, and then it started to tail off. And I think Simon's right. I think a lot of it wasn't explained very well. But I think they tried to explain it too much as well, because there was a lot, especially when they started going into about this, obviously this made up science about their light machine and all that stuff. You know, it like, and I understand, how do you explain a science that you've essentially made up for the story? It's hard to get people on board for it. So you know, that's the trials and tribulations of a fiction writer, I guess. But I liked the first couple of issues, and then it just started going downhill, like the truck. I ran out of energy and just started rolling down the hill. So I don't know. I don't think I'll read on. I thought the art was fantastic. I thought the premise was great. I think they probably could have done a lot more with the overall premise about the darkness and the girl, like I sort of alluded to. But that was rarely touched on. So I think they could have done more, could have done better. Well, like me talking like I'm an expert, but yeah, they should have done better. Scott, what are you doing? But
Scott Snyder.
I'll have words.
Your finger.
But no, I didn't. After reading those last 2 issues, I really just wanted to stop reading it entirely.
Yeah. Efren, are you up to date with this series?
I've read the series, but I have forgotten about it. And I talked to you about this briefly. When I read a book, first of all, I just want to be entertained. And this book entertained me, and I wanted to keep on reading. I like the way it ended, like almost like a cliffhanger, like what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
What I don't like, and I mentioned this to you before, between issue 6 and issue 7, it was 4 months before issue 7 came out, and that what makes me lose interest in a book. And I did start to lose interest in it. And I started reading. I did read when issue 7 came out. I read it, but I kind of forgot what it was about. And then later on, there's like a half a year gap between 2 issues, and that's what ruins books for me. I understand, well, maybe I don't understand, but we're so used to books coming out every month, and it's still fresh in our minds. By the time that 4-month gap, and there was a 6-month gap after that, I completely lost interest in it. And if we do come back to this, I'll only read it then again. Because I just lost interest, and that's what ruined it for me a little bit.
Yeah, I think the same thing was like with The Last Ronin.
Yes,
I think a lot of people got fed up of waiting.
Yeah,
and they turned them off on the book.
Like I'm a massive Turtle fan, and even I haven't finished reading it. After the first issue, or second issue maybe. So I
read the first issue, and then I'll just wait for the trade to come out.
I was going to say that's why I read most of my stuff in trade format rather than monthlies. I'm the same as you, Efren. I'm going to be insulting there to you, Efren. I might be different to you. I'm of an age where a 6-month gap between books, I've forgotten what's happened. Do you know what I mean? And that cannot be chewed to go back and reread another 6 issues to just understand what's happened in the next issue. So so that's why trade for the wins for me, I think, at the moment.
And the only reason I reread these is because we're doing this show. It wasn't for this, I wouldn't have read them again.
That'll bring us to our favorite issues or parts of the book. For me, it's got to be Blacktop Bill. Just the bits of him in. They were my favorite. Efren, yourself? Your favorite part or your favorite issue?
Who did you ask?
I said, what was your favorite part or your favorite issue?
My favorite parts was just the backstory on Val, to be honest with you. Just how she was blind at the beginning, and how she had to toughen up and take care of her little brother. I like the brother and sister bonding part of it, how she'll do anything to keep him alive, and she basically does do anything. So I like that, and then when they pick up the other little girl, I forgot her name, and they take her in,
Bailey.
Take her in also, I like that. And I like the other characters too. The lady that helps her at the end, I forgot how they first met. When they were killing everybody, she reached her hand out to her to help her out. I like those little backstory parts of it.
Did anyone else think though her the relationship with Bailey sort of turned, like she was very annoyed by her, and she's like, oh, it's just a girl's like annoying person I've had to bring with me, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I'll always come with me in my convoy. You're part of the convoy now. You're a convoy, bro. Let's go. It was like really just switched all of a sudden. Like there was no building on that, maybe, unless I missed something. But it was
she even got a call sign, didn't she, Piper? Connie hasn't read it yet, so she's too busy in the pub.
I think part of the reason, I think Val is just so bitter and hardened by everything that's happened, so it's hard for her to let somebody in, but she lets the little girl in. You said her name was Bailey? At the end, maybe when they started talking a little bit, like, what's your name? Who do you want to be known as? I think that started breaking the ice for her. I think she just doesn't want to let anybody into her life, but she knows probably everybody's going to die anyways,
Yeah, it'd definitely be interesting to see their relationship going forward, and the relationship between a brother and the little girl as well. Pete, favorite part or issue?
I mean, I enjoyed the truck race. I really liked that. But in terms of a favorite scene, I enjoyed the old guy strapped to the top of the car screaming, "Kill me!" I thought that was just great. I love that.
Simon?
I would say I'm going to be a bit different here because I do like Blacktop Bill, but probably when all the truckers came to save them and they were all on the comms and they needed that help. So when they all came and then all sort of like, hey, we're here to help you. So I enjoyed that one. Yeah.
So I'm just wondering because obviously Blacktop Bill pretty much attacked the place they all were. If there's just going to be a big, massive convoy of them now going forward in the other issues.
Yeah, he burnt out a lot of their trucks too, didn't he?
Right. I couldn't remember. James, any favourite bits of this volume for you?
You know what I did? I really like the use of the color and light for obviously the scenes where they're in, like the neon area and the cave and the big sort of neon lights that they use where their stops and in the sort of city they're in. I like the use of the color and the light in the issues for that. I thought it was very creative and very, very easy on the eye, very attractive on the eye, those scenes. But yeah.
It was easy going on the eyes.
It was pleasant on the eyes, I should say.
Pleasant on the eyes.
A feast for the eyes.
Feast for the eyes. Nice. Well, happy birthday.
Is it her birthday? But because she's having a birthday month, I think.
Right.
Is
it your actual birthday today, Connie?
You got to let us know now. Depending on the overall view, she might pick it up. Well, that's what we're going to get to next. She's not going to tell us if it's a birthday or not. So that brings us to the scores. Pete, what's your score? Oh, it's the actual birthday. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Oh, we gotta sing. We gotta sing happy birthday now.
Happy birthday
to you.
That's
You know what? Let's go back to comic reviews.
Yeah, let's go back to that.
It's a hard one, this, isn't it? Because, like I say, I really did I thought, I enjoyed it before I came on the show. And I did enjoy it. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10.
7, yeah. Simon?
I think we're all in agreement. It grasped us on issue 1, 2, and 3. I think 4, 5, and 6 is where it lost us a bit. So yeah. I'm going to give it a 6 on that. So
a 6. Mm-hmm. James?
Yeah, I'm think I'm settled on a 5. Wow. I enjoyed the first couple of episodes or issues, and it's just sort of got a bit convoluted for me on the back end of it. Art fantastic, premises it was good, but like I said, I think there could have been a lot more that done of it, and I think it stretched it out too long because when you break it down as to what happened, it's not 6 issues worth. So
Efren?
Artwork, I give it a solid 9. I love the artwork on this. It was so good. If a storyline makes me want to, I can't wait for the next issue to come to be available. That's what part of my grading curve is on. So I couldn't wait for every issue to come out. So I'm going to give this an 8. I just like the dialogue. Most of the time when there's a lot of dialogue, I get oh my god. It turns me off. But this dialogue, I just like the way they built up the characters from the beginning to the end. And I like the cliffhanger at the end, so to speak. So, I think I'm going to read this at 7 and 8. I might read them, even if we never go back to this book again.
Yeah.
I'm still going to read it again, because now they have them all there and I don't have to wait months or half a year to read them.
Yeah.
Very true. And I'm going to give it a 5 as well. Absolutely enjoyed the art. Too much backstory. They could have wrapped that up in at least one issue. They didn't have to keep putting it in every issue. It's got to be a 5. Overwritten.
I rushed
overhyped. Overhyped.
I had to rush home to be here on time. And how dare you give it a 5?
I'm sorry, Dad.
I think you were a little bit late. I don't know if you were on time either.
Yeah. So that's an overall score of 31 out of 50.
Wow.
Nocterra. That's our lowest one yet. So I've got to do a table. I'll have to put a table.
Can we bump it up a little bit?
No.
No, that's it now.
It's no
That's
fun.
That's a shame. That's a
It
shame.
is,
Because
It is.
Scott Snyder was booked to come on when we do Volume 2, but I doubt he'll come on now. You know.
Fair, I reached out to Scott Snyder before to do an
Did you?
interview.
Jesus,
Never
thank God he
replied.
didn't come on.
Never replied. I should knock another point off of that. Make them even 30. But yeah, Nocterra Volume 1, 31, low scored. So what have we got coming up next time on the show, Pete?
Oh, we've done that one. That.
I've done that one.
Yes,
There we go.
what?
Flashpoint.
Sorry, I didn't know if you were asking me to see what I've got coming up.
That was a smooth segue.
Smooth
Yeah,
segue,
it
yeah.
was. Yeah, that's what we've got coming up next time. What's people got coming up on the shows, Pete?
I haven't got much. So I've just put a video out today of a 1/6 scale action figure Rogue, which is quite nice. I've got that one. In terms of live shows, Thursday night we've got Across the Spider-Verse review show. So if anybody's seen Across the Spider-Verse and wants to jump on the panel, just drop us a line. Happy to have you. That's 8 o'clock on Thursday. It'll only be an hour. Strict on time for that one because I want to jump and watch the Killer Comic Show at 9 o'clock. Friday at 10 o'clock, I'm doing an action figure live show because I've counted up my pre-orders and it scared us. So I'm going to talk about the pre-orders I've got. Saturday, we've got the usual Saturday night hangout. And again, anybody wants to join that, just drop us a line. We're going to be focusing on best and worst sequels this week. So that should be interesting as well. And then Monday, Monday, we've got we're Geeky Art Attack show where it's 80s cartoons.
Yeah. Dave's been to see Spider-Verse. He's telling everybody to go and watch it. There you go.
He's not wrong.
Do you want to tell your story before we move on to anybody else, Pete? Your Scott Snyder one.
Oh, my Scott Snyder one. I feel like a bloody tit. So I went to Thought Bubble, as did James and Simon there. And it's fair to say, James, that Scott Snyder was having a few drinks on the Saturday night, remember? We saw him perusing the bar.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then on the Sunday, he was sat looking like a dead man, kind of hungover, with nobody around him, nobody getting signatures. I kind of snuck over. I don't know if that's when you got your signatures, guys. And I gave him Nocterra and asked him to sign it, and he did, and he wrote on it. And then when I was sat at the table with the guys, I can't remember if it was Connie or not, but I'm looking at the book and he's written "Stay Lit" on it. So I said, "What the hell's that? What's stay lit?" And someone said, "Well, it's when you stay lit is go out and have a few drinks and be lit." I was like, "Oh, right." So I thought he was pissed and he'd writ "have a good night" basically on it. Well, it's not. When I've read this frigging book, it's the kind of the phrase they keep using, isn't it? Stay lit, to keep the light off you.
You mentioned it, yes, you're right.
Yeah, so I've put that on my frigging YouTube video as well, saying, the bloody blokes pisses a fart right and stay lit on me book. So you should read the comic before you get them to sign it, I guess.
Exactly. Lesson learned. Efren, got anything coming up on your channel, mate?
I'm finally going to do my giveaway tomorrow. I'm going to choose a winner. If you go to my YouTube channel, I have a 1,000 subscriber giveaway. I'm giving away a Spider-Man book. All you got to do is leave a comment. I'm picking the winner tomorrow, and I'll post it tomorrow, Wednesday. I'm looking forward to being on Peter's channel as usual.
Yeah.
And Peter and I, we do a monthly video where we pick our top 5 advanced orders and one book we're looking forward to be reading. That'll be later on this month. I always like doing that. And I'm always putting up shorts, whatever just grabs my attention. I do a quick 1-minute short. And anybody wants to invite me to be on their channel, I'll be on it. I like doing it. And I'm, even if I have to run home from my doing stuff outside of my house, I had to rush in and come in the last minute to be on your show, but it was worth it, so.
Yeah. Simon, have you finally got anything coming up on your channel?
No, I'm just joining everyone else's at the moment. Just happy doing that. I'm actually busy playing a computer game, so
Oh well.
two computer games actually. So I've been busy playing.
Oh, yeah.
Frogger.
Frogger. No, it's Diablo 4. It's just come out, so I've been hammering that lately, enjoying that. So
yeah, what Simon just said, sometimes it's a lot easier when I'm on Peter's show or your show, GP, because we don't have to do any of the work. Just show up.
Yeah, Peter's doing it all.
Yeah.
James, any unboxings coming up?
I don't know. I haven't anything recorded. I do have a package that I haven't opened. And sometimes I'm afraid to open a package. It's like, is opening a packet of comics real if you don't record it anymore? Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
I actually hate that feeling because I'm like, why am I like this? Somebody help me. Although what I do have coming up, I don't really remember. I announced I was getting an MRI last time. That was fun. So in the next episode of Exploring the Human Body with Comic Dale, I'm going to the fracture clinic tomorrow.
Oh,
lovely.
I've got that coming up. That's exciting.
Yeah.
Dare
Love
I ask,
that.
what have you fractured?
No, it's
You can
my
actually fracture. Yeah.
it's my knee. I've got a torn ACL, a torn meniscus, and possibly
wow.
a fracture. So
Nasty. Late Fuzzy's coming in late. Shit, I missed it anyway. Nocterra, pure mince.
I love a pure mint.
he's not
What does
wrong.
pure mince
He's
mean?
not wrong.
Well,
Shit.
on that bombshell,
Yeah.
we're all going to say good night. And that's the end of that. Stay late.
Stay late.